Welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have a very inspiring show coming right up with special guests, Becky Rapinchuk, and she's here to share with us her new book, Clean Mama's Guide to a Peaceful Home. Effortless systems and joyful rituals for a calm, cozy home. So Becky is the founder of Clean Mama, the popular homekeeping community. She's the author of Simply Clean and The Organically Clean Home and has been an advisor and home care expert for many well-known brands. So let's welcome to the show, Becky Rapinchuk.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
You know, what an honor it is to have you here. And my goodness, everyone needs this book this year. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, after I finished my third book, I started thinking about things that I do without really thinking about it. So those little habits and routines that I have in my home and that make things run a little bit smoother. And I started realizing how many I actually have and do and how they make my life so much more simple. And I thought, you know what, this would make a great book. And so I started to kind of flesh out how the book would go. And we brought it to the publisher, and they were excited about it. I wrote the book, and then the pandemic hit, and it was time to start editing it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this book is perfect for right now in such an odd way, just because it makes, just when things are ordinary and normal, it makes things easier. But when things are hard and a little bit more difficult, it makes things so much easier. So it just still a real labor of love, and I loved writing it. I loved coming up with really like dissecting all the things that I do in the day and how those things add up to a peaceful, cozy, clean home.
You know, that makes such a big difference because I know, when people walk in my home, they're like, oh my gosh, it feels so peaceful here. And I can, I know when I've gone to visit other friends, you can feel sometimes where it's like, oh, the energy is a little rough. And it's such a huge difference, when you're, not just visiting, but living there,
Right. There's so much is actually, there's so much in our homes that we don't even realize is affecting us. And once you're able to really look at how everything works in your home and how things fit together, it actually, you can see how things can be made cozy and homey feeling, whereas when it's not, it is very obvious, and it can affect so much more than just your home. It affects your attitude and how you feel about your home and your emotional well-being and all those things, even though you wouldn't necessarily think that would be the case.
So how about those people who are now working from home, they're teaching their kids at home, everything seems super chaotic. How can they develop peace in that kind of an environment?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is actually like setting aside time every day to put things back, to find places where things should go and how things work. And sometimes I think we go about our day rushed and hurried, and we lose sight of, we walk past the pile, or we walk past the mess and not seeing that mess might be contributing to our overall stress levels. So by actually taking some time to figure out the best system for different areas of our home, making sure that things are less cluttered and that we can find things and locate things easily, that's a huge step right now in making our homes work for us. I know when we have our kids home, and if we're doing school at home and we're working at home, and all these spaces are intersecting in ways that they never have. So the area that you started maybe in August or September doing school with your kids, it might need to change. You might need to reconfigure where that desk is or where the computer is facing, or like making those little tweaks along the way instead of just continuing to barrel forward is where you're going to find that peace, and where things you just have to take the time to find the areas that what's working and what's not working.
So what do you find are some of the common mistakes that people make in just setting up a peaceful space?
I really think that not seeing the importance of actually making that space work for us is like one of the biggest problems. Just because you need to actually say, hey, this isn't working. I'm going to change this right now, and I'm going to make it a little bit better for my family. And it's okay to take time to do that instead of trying to feel like we have to just keep going. And that I think that's one thing. But I also think that taking some time to realize why do I do it this way? Is there a better way to do this? Is there actually kind of dissecting it down to what's going to work best for this scenario? So for instance, if you always have a pile of mail and it ends up, you sort it when it's time to do the bills, and it's this big mess that sits on your kitchen counter, and you just keep adding to it every day and looking past it. Actually coming up with a system that works, something as simple as an in basket and an out basket, where you can just sort the mail and put what needs to be dealt with in the in and what is ready to go in the mail or be filed away in your out basket. Something simple like that can take that mess on a counter, and now it's turned it into a simple system that isn't an eyesore and doesn't give you that feeling of stress when you see that stack of bills or mail or whatever it is.
Do you find if, let's say we can't tackle the whole house, maybe just one area is probably good to start with?
Yeah, I think that the kitchen is a really good area to start with, just because we spend so much time in the kitchen. If you that might not be a universally found area. I think that it's really helpful because if you have a clean kitchen sink and you don't have dishes piled up on either side of it, or that's going to help that area. So I always say, start with that kitchen sink area and wash your dishes, put them away, get that clean and clear, and then that whole kitchen's going to feel better. And if you can continue with that daily, it's minutes a day to do that. Whereas if you let it pile up until you need a bowl, then it's going to take quite a bit longer to actually tackle that sink full of dishes. Mm-hmm. Is if you work from home and your desk area is cluttered, and every time you walk to wherever that desk is or where your computer is and you see the piles of stuff before you, that can feel really overwhelming and can make you feel like you have a lot to accomplish in that space, or it's hard to look past it. So tackling that space might be another good area to tackle, because it's probably not huge, but if you're spending a good portion of your day seated in that area and looking at those piles, it's probably affecting you somehow.
Yeah, I would think that it would really impact your work if you're cluttered, if you've got a lot of stuff around you. That tends not to bring a really peaceful atmosphere.
Right.
So what are some of the rituals? Because I know you've got so much great information in your book. Why don't you share with us one ritual that can kind of help people feel a little bit more calm throughout their day?
Yeah, one thing that I recommend doing, this is something that I do every day, is, and it starts with having that kitchen sink clean at night. So you the dishes are in the dishwasher. If you don't have a dishwasher, you're washing the dishes, you're cleaning your sink. I do a nightly sink scrub, which is baking soda and essential oils, and I sprinkle it in my kitchen sink when it's empty, and I add a little dish soap, give it a scrub, rinse it really well, and then put out a fresh hand towel, and that sink is ready for the next morning. And then when the next morning, as I'm making my coffee, I unload the dishwasher, and I am not someone that enjoys unloading the dishwasher. I don't really know if anyone is, but I take that 3 minutes or so while the coffee is brewing, and I unload the dishwasher, put those dishes away, and now the kitchen sink is still clean, the dishwasher is empty, and the kitchen is ready for the day. So when the kids are done with breakfast, they can put their dishes in the dishwasher, and we're not starting the day with a sink full of dishes and a counter full of dishes.
Yeah, it makes things so much nicer. And I love how you just use like the essential oil in the sink. So you wake up and you're in your kitchen and you're feeling great already. You're ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I ever feel like I'm like in the evening, I don't think there's many people that think, oh, it's great, 6:30, I'm done with dinner, I can't wait to clean up the kitchen. Like, it's not really something that people love doing, but I always try to think of myself as my future self. Like, how will this make me feel tomorrow morning if I leave this as a big mess, or if I put things away and clean it up, which is going to feel better. So that's kind of how I try to reframe my thinking, and I always get the whole family involved. Everyone pitches in, and it makes it go a little bit quicker too.
Well, I know in your book you talk about decision trees. What are those, and why would we use those?
Yeah, so in the book, we go through each area of our home, and the decision tree is an area where you can decide if this is something that you need to deal with. So, for instance, a decision tree, one of the decision trees is about meal planning. So I ask, is meal planning, meal prep, grocery shopping, where you want to implement a change? If you say yes, then I say write down 3 action steps, like prepping groceries, cleaning out your refrigerator. So you're actually listing some things that you could do, and then I tell you to write down an idea that you can use today. If meal planning, meal prep, grocery shopping is an area that you don't need to work on, then I say move on to the next chapter. If it's a maybe, then I ask you to ask yourself, do you have any meal-related pain points, yes or no? And then if yes, then you're going to write down something that's going to help solve that. If you say no, I say move on to the next chapter. So it's a time for you to actually reflect on very, very specific areas of your home and of your routine to see where you might want to implement change. The whole book goes room by room or area by area. So I've broken things down to something like meal planning. And then you can decide if this is something that's going to help you, and then you get the chance to work on it and as you're going through the book. So it almost has a workbook flavor to it in that way, so that you're taking some action as you are reading the book.
Yeah, it's so helpful to have that really kind of path forward. It's like, okay, do this, do that, do this. So it makes it really simple, so you're not kind of getting lost going, what do I do next?
Right. Well, and then it also has you pause a little bit too to reflect, because sometimes if you're just reading a book cover to cover, you don't get that chance necessarily, unless you're writing things down in a journal on the side. You don't get that chance to decide if this is an area that you need to work on or not. And so you think, as you're reading it, I'll tackle this later, but you might not come back to it. This actually makes you stop and deal with those areas as you're working through the book.
Well, and I love how it's not just the areas of the house, it's really areas within ourselves as well.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, getting to that place of a greater sense of peace and having our home be as peaceful as possible. And gosh, what a great place that, great environment that is to live in. Do you find that once it's established, you've got your house done according to Clean Mama's Guide to a Peaceful Home, and we're set? Does it take a lot of time to go ahead and do the upkeep for that on a daily basis?
Once you are in the routine, and I have a specific cleaning routine, we call it the Clean Mama routine. And once you're doing that in your day and your home is clutter free or clutter less, whichever one it is, you'll be spending so much less time cleaning. I spend minutes a day doing my daily tasks and my weekly task. It's not like I space things out like throughout the whole day. Maybe 3 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. So it all adds up to 20 to 30 minutes a day where I'm actually doing these little homekeeping tasks, and those are the maintenance, and that maintenance is what's going to keep things running smoothly in your home, and it'll be easy for you to maintain those the rituals that you've put in place while you've read the book.
And I know you shared with us one ritual. What's another that really stands out for you?
Yeah, another ritual that I do is and this is something that started when I was teaching. I would do my grocery shopping on Friday because we could leave school a little bit earlier on Friday. So I would, on my way home from school, I would stop at the grocery store, and I would usually grab something for dinner, typically a couple rotisserie chickens, and then I would get the groceries for the week. And then that way I was saving time at the grocery store because it wasn't as crowded, and I wasn't running out again over the weekend. I was doing it as a consecutive trip from coming home from school. And then I had the groceries for the weekend and then into the next week. But the ritual that I attach to that is that I always, when I'm doing my meal planning, I have the fridge typically open and I'm looking to see what we have. And as I'm looking to see what we have, I'm wiping down the inside of the fridge so that the shelves are staying clean, and I'm also discarding anything that has gone bad, cleaning the fridge out, and I'm making way for the groceries that will come home later that day. Or, when I was teaching, I would usually make my list on Thursday night. Now I'll do it on Friday before I leave to go to the store, or before I put in my grocery delivery order, as is the way to do things during a pandemic. But I still do this on a Friday, and just that little ritual of wiping down the fridge is so helpful because it keeps things like neat and tidy and also clean. But I'm also being mindful of what's in the fridge, what I have to still cook with, what I need to use up, and we're wasting less food, and the refrigerator is nice and clean and all week long.
Kind of like that because, there's nothing like going to your refrigerator and kind of having a sense of what's happening there, especially if you're cooking for other people,
Mhm. Yeah, and it's especially when you come home. I mean, I always find like the unpacking and putting away of groceries really exhausting, just usually because you've gone to the store, you've done the shopping, and now you're bringing it home, and it's like that one last, like the final step. And it's nice to not have to be like fighting through old food or a spill on the counter or on the shelf, something like that. I can actually, it's clean, everything has its place ready for it, and you can just put the groceries away.
Well, I felt that your book was so powerful. Why do you feel that it really helps people stop and really focus on what really matters in life?
Yeah, I think that thank you. I appreciate that, Marianne. But sometimes when we go, and everyone, you move at this breakneck speed sometimes, and it feels like your house is like the last place that you are actually taking time to care for. And when you flip that the other way and you realize how much your home affects your well-being and or just how you feel about life when you're there, it's really, really helpful to take time and actually find the what in our home matters, the areas that aren't working for us, the areas that are working, and really hone in on how we can make our homes peaceful and calm and cozy, and a place that we want to come home to, a place that's inviting for others to come to, and gives us that feeling of calm and being able to like fully, truly relax and be ourselves when we are there.
Well, I'll tell you, there are no accidents. And I find it very interesting that your book is being released during this time when so many people need this book. I mean, because for people, there's a lot of us that, have maybe never worked at home. And now we're working we're at home, we're teaching our children at home, and life has really changed. And it seems that things have gotten a lot more, just chaotic in general. So being able to do this, I know you talk about how it frees up our mental and physical space, but, we end up being happier.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't think you realize that until you see the difference. And I mean, there's studies all over the place, if you look for them, about how the state of our home actually affects our well-being and our mental health. And you can be in control of that just by simple things like making your bed, putting your stuff away, making sure that things are working in systems that work for your family rather than like running or trying to swim upstream, like making those things simple and easy. It makes everything just so much better, especially in this time when we are home.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have had this kind of creep up on them, and then all of a sudden they look around, they're like, what happened to my house and my life?
Right.
It didn't used to be this chaotic. And so to be able to have a roadmap and suggestions and, just ways that they can start cultivating more happiness and calm and peace in the home. I mean, what a great tool that is.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited about it, and I just know that it's a tool and a roadmap that is going to help so many people.
So I think I have time for a couple more questions here. So what is one of the tools that you have that you use daily without nothing can stop you? You're using it daily.
And you said rituals?
Sure, yeah, a ritual or just something that you do every day to help keep your space in that peaceful place that it is.
Yeah, I find that one of my personal things that really overwhelm me is laundry. And so making sure that I do at least a load of laundry every day from start to finish is really helpful. So I will typically start a load of laundry like first thing in the morning, or I'll do an overnight load sometimes too, so that it finishes like at 5 a.m. I toss it in the dryer, and then like around 7 or 8, it's dry, and I'm putting that in, putting those things away right away. If I put that off, it tends to pile up, and that's when I feel overwhelmed with that. I also make sure that like hand towels, that we're like changing those out. I find that that's really helpful from a cleanliness standpoint and like keeping germs away, but also it's just a little simple thing, but a nice clean hand towel folded and put where it should be is a nice little touch in any room, a bathroom or a kitchen. And making beds, I think, is just one thing. Like, just pull that quilt or comforter up and over and put the pillows on, and it's super simple. It takes minutes, but it's a big thing in a room, and it's always nice to go walk into your bedroom at the end of the day and have a nice bed that's made, and you can turn down for the night. I like to use kind of more dim lighting in the evenings, and I feel like that really makes things calm and cozy, and gives that feeling of warmth in the house too. I definitely find that cleaning my sink at night is with a little bit of baking soda and dish soap is a huge ritual that sets that whole kitchen up for success. And checking floors is something that I do every day, but it's funny how even crumbs in a kitchen can kind of be a catalyst for a messy house. So making sure that if there's anything on the floor, you just take a broom and sweep it up. Teach young children to do that. They can do that too after meals, and that'll make your kitchen feel cleaner as well. I think that there's so many little things that just take minutes that we tend to not want to take the time to do. But if you even just set a timer to see how long things take, you'll be surprised how making a bed is usually about a minute. Cleaning a bathroom, I can clean 4 bathrooms in 15 minutes just because I have it down to a system where it's really simple to clean them, and by cleaning them weekly, we're keeping them clean all the time, and it just makes things easier. And it's nice to be able to walk into a bathroom and not feel like it's dirty.
Yeah. I mean, it makes such a big difference having these spaces clean, because you feel so much better when you walk into your home and you've got a clean home, and it really does help, for your mental well-being. You can see how that all comes together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness, Becky. I mean, we could talk for hours. I mean, I just love your book. Where can our listeners connect with you and be part of your community and learn about this book and all of your other books as well?
Yeah, I am online at cleanmama.com, and it's CLEANMAMA.com. You can find me socially at Clean Mama, and everything for my website is at cleanmama.com, and all those links socially are there as well. I'm probably most active on Instagram if you're into Instagram, but that's where you can find me.
Well, Becky, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you, Marianne. It was a pleasure.
Well, thank you, Becky. It has been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your new book, Clean Mama's Guide to a Peaceful Home. If you'd like to connect with Becky, you can at her website, cleanmama.com, for more information. Clean Mama's Guide to a Peaceful Home is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and select indie retailers. And if you don't see it on the shelf, ask for them to order it. And of course, it's available on Kindle. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.